Hello, I am Ma'am Cathy, your subject teacher in MIL or Media and Information Literacy. So today we are going to tackle about the evolution of traditional media to new media. And here are the objectives of our lesson. So first is to identify traditional and new media, identify different sources of information in various ages, discuss the importance of evaluating information from the internet, explain how the evolution of media shape the values and norms of people and society, and last is to compare and contrast indigenous media to other sources of information. Let us now talk about the evolution of media. So I have here the 4 important periods of the evolution of tradition to new media. So first is the pre-industrial age. We also have industrial age, the electronic age, and the new or information age. To discuss each period, so let's start with the pre-industrial age. The pre-industrial age was dated before 1700s. In this particular period, people mostly rely on nature. People discovered fire and developed paper from plants and forged weapons and tools with stone, bronze, copper, and iron. So they use tools in their surroundings that they can utilize in order for them to communicate. In this period, the usage of smoke, fire, and horn was one of their system or ways in order for them to communicate. One best example of forms of media during the pre-industrial age is the cave paintings. So from the word itself, cave paintings, these are paintings found on caves or cave walls. So cave paintings is also known as parietal art. These are numerous paintings and engravings found on cave walls or ceiling around 38,000 BCE, and these cave paintings are prominent in both Asia and European region during the pre-industrial age. So I have here a sample of cave paintings. So this is actually a painted drawing in walls. So there are instances that they use sharp objects or a sharp stone, and their painting medium could be an extract from a plant or could be the blood of their hunted animals. Another one is the papyrus or the papyrus. Papyrus is an ancient Greek for the papyrus plant where the word paper was derived. It is made from pith of papyrus plant and it is used in ancient times as writing surface to designate documents written on its sheets rolled up to scrolls. It is used as a writing medium, especially for writing in cuneiform throughout the Bronze Age and well into the Iron Age. Next one is the Acta Diurna. It is the Latin for daily acts, sometimes translated as daily public records, were daily Roman official notices, a sort of daily gazette. They were carved on stone or metal and presented in message board in public places like the Forum of Rome. So again, this is the Acta Diurna. Next is the Codex in the Mayan region during the 5th century. So Maya codices are folding books written by the pre-Columbian Maya civilization in Maya hieroglyphic script of Mesoamerican bark paper. So the Dresden Codex is the most important of the few that survive. So this is an example of the codex in Mayan region. Another one is the woodblock printing. So woodblock printing is a technique for printing text, images, or patterns used widely throughout East Asia and originating in China. This is an example of printing press using woodblocks that is believed during 220 AD. We also have the Dibao in China during the 2nd century. So the Chinese Dibao is the earliest and oldest newspaper in the world. So this is an example of the Dibao. So those are the important features and important events happened during the pre-industrial age. So let's move on to the second period, which is the industrial age. It is from 1700s to 1930s. Unlike with the previous age of evolution of media, during this era where the first mechanical tool and machines was introduced, and these machines were inspirations in the modernized machines that we are using in the present time. So people use the power of steam, develop machine tools, establish iron production, and the manufacturing of various products, including books through the printing press, are some of the important events happened during the industrial age. Some examples of media during this period is the telegraph or telegraphy. It is used for long-distance communication by transmitting electrical signals over a wire laid between stations. It is the long-distance broadcast of textual or symbolic messages. It is without the corporeal exchange of an object bearing the message. It necessitates that the technique used for encoding the message both be known sender and receiver. Telegraphy was actually a period wherein a message is transferred from one end to another without actually exhausting yourself reaching the receiver. Here is an example of telegraph, and it is used around 1700s to 1930s. So one of the most significant events during the industrial age is the invention of printing press. So printing press is typically used for text. It is a device that applies pressure to an ink surface resting upon a print medium. So just like paper or cloth. We have here an example of the earliest form of printing press. So the printing press was invented in the Holy Empire by the German Johannes Gutenberg around 1440. He developed an entire printing system which fulfilled the printing operation through all its stages. So during this period, since it was introduced during the Holy Roman Empire, one of the first products of the printing press was the early version of the Bible. It was also during this period where motion picture was introduced, or it is also known as film or movie. It is a series of still photos on film projected in rapid succession onto a screen by means of light. This is an example of motion picture during the industrial age. And other forms of media under industrial age are as follows. So we have the newspaper, or also known as the London Gazette, which is believed to happen during 1640. We also have typewriter during 1800s, telephone that was invented during 1876. We also have motion picture photography or projection in 1890, commercial motion picture in 1931, motion picture with sound in 1926, and we also have the punch cards. And last is the telephone, and it was invented last 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell. So that is why he is considered as the father of telephone. Let's move on to the third important period in the evolution of traditional to new media, which is the electronic age, which is believed to happen from 1930s to 1980s. It is the period where invention of transistors happened, transistor radio, electronic circuits, and early computers. And in this age, long-distance communication became more efficient. Here are the examples of forms of media during this age. So first we have the small portable radio. So a small portable radio receiver that uses transistor-based circuitry. Another one is the television. It is a telecommunication medium used for transmitting sound with moving pictures. So the television evolved from a box type, but nowadays we have a flat screen TVs. It was also this period where computers was introduced. So computer is an electronic device for storing and processing data. So typically in binary form, according to instructions given to it in variable program. This is an example of computer from the past decades, but over the years, we can see that computers are evolving from its original form, which measures a size of a big office or a room, up to the types of computers that we are using today. Another example of computer is the Apple I computer. Next, we have here the Apple II computer. Other example of forms of media under this period is the OHP and LCD projectors. So OHP means overhead projector and LCD or the liquid crystal display projector. And let us move on to the fourth and last period in the evolution of traditional to new media, which is the new or information age that is believed to happen during 1900s to 2000s. In the information age, the internet paved the way for faster communication and the creation of the social network. So people advanced the use of microelectronics with the invention of personal computers, mobile devices, and wearable technology. So moreover, voice, image, sound, and data are digitalized. We are now living in the information age. So here are the examples of media under the new or information age. So first one, we have laptops that was introduced last 1980. We also have tablets that was introduced last 1993. Notebooks that was invented during 2008. We also have smartphones. Also during this time, wearable technologies were invented. We also have the following under this period. So we have the Google Meet, Internet Explorer, Blogspot, Friendster, and many more. And those are the different periods on the evolution of traditional media to new media. So let's move on to the functions of communication media. So we have here 5 different functions of communication media. First is the monitoring function. So one of the main functions of communication media is to inform citizens of what is happening in our society. Second is the information functions. It simply means to educate the audience about the meaning and significance of facts through communication media. Third one is the opinion function. So the communication media provides a platform for public discourse or public opinion and expression. Fourth one is the watchdog role of journalism. Watchdog journalists gather information about wrongdoings of people in power and deliver it to the public so the public can understand what happens in society and stop wrongdoings. Communication media is also a channel for advocacy of political viewpoints. So those are the different functions of communication media. So we have monitoring function, information function, opinion function, the watchdog role of journalism, and the channel for advocacy of political viewpoints. And now let's move on to the sources of information. So there are three different sources of information, and these are the indigenous media, library, and internet. So let us discuss it one by one. Let's start with indigenous media. Indigenous media could also be defined as a variety of media expression conceptualized, produced, and circulated by indigenous people with information appropriate to their culture. So with this, it includes cultural preservation, cultural and artistic expression, and political self-determination. Next is the library. So library is a place where artistic, literary, musical, and reference materials such as manuscripts, books, and films are kept for use and not for sale. So that is the second source of information. And the third one is the internet. It is a global system of interconnected computer networks that uses the internet protocol to communicate between networks and devices. So according to history, it was believed that internet was first introduced as ARPANET in 1969. And because of the success of ARPANET, it was introduced in different institutions in the United States, and then because of its massive success in those different institutions, that is why the World Wide Web was introduced and is still growing up until today. And these are the three sources of information. So again, we have the indigenous media, we also have the library, and last one is the internet. And that ends our discussion for the evolution of traditional to new media. Thank you for listening.